Hey everybody, Maction here, and every so often you find yourself in one of those funks, where nothing can really impress you. And sometimes that's where I find myself when I get a tablet. I have to be really careful to try and view each tablet with new and fresh eyes. And that's exactly the position I found myself in when I got the Skypad 10S and 7S. To take a look at. Now remember what I said about seeing things with fresh eyes, because that's going to become important later. First, let's talk a little bit about the hardware that powers the Skypad 10S and 7S. Both of these tablets pack a 1024 by 600 screen. They're both running an all-winner A20 1.2 GHz dual-core processor. They both have 1 GB of RAM, 8 GB of internal storage, and expandable memory via a micro SD card up to 32 GB. They both have an HDMI output. The 10S has a dedicated charging port, whereas the 7S will just charge straight through the micro USB port. Both tablets support USB on the go, so with an adapter, you can plug flash drives in and transfer files, or view files that you have. And both tablets feature Bluetooth. Now this is particularly noteworthy in the 7S, because most budget 7-inch tablets don't have a Bluetooth module. That's usually one of the things that is left out. They both feature 2 megapixel rear and 1.3 megapixel front cameras, which is fine for well-lit video conferencing. And if you did not already know my stance on pictures, I'm really hard-pressed to take a picture with a tablet. I figure it's a proper camera or nothing for me. The 10S has a physical back button up on the top near the volume rockers where the power button would normally be. This is a little disorienting at first, but you soon get used to it, and it's a nice feature to have, and one of the things that I really miss from the tablets of the past. And from the standpoint of materials, both are made of the same plastic enclosures. Now time for the software. Both of them are running Android 4.2 Jelly Bean, and it's fairly zippy for a 1.2 GHz dual-core chip. I heard from one of the Skytex people that they put a lot of man-hours into tweaking the tablet to make it run faster than otherwise, and it's doing a fair job in normal use with my other dual-core tablets. There are some fun preloaded apps and some that I don't really care much for. One that I really liked was the RAM Manager widget. There are shortcuts to download popular apps on the device instead of having to grab them through the stores, and also, even though Skytex preloads their own app store, they haven't done any tricky business to keep other app stores off. As a matter of fact, the Play Store and Amazon are either preloaded or have quick download links on the tablet itself. It's nice not to have the preloaded market jammed down your throat like that in case you don't like it. They did include 10 gigabytes of cloud storage through File Locker with both the Skypad 10S and 7S, which is a nice touch, what with how much even a Luddite like me is moving to the cloud. Performance and battery life. As always, we take battery life estimates with a grain of salt. So how do these stack up? Now, you, like me, may find that your 10S does about 5 hours of YouTube, 5.5 hours of Netflix, and 6.5 hours of browsing, with the 7S lasting about 3.5 hours on YouTube, 4 hours on Netflix, and 5 hours of browsing. And then last but not least, let's give you some benchmarks so you can compare the performance on these to other tablets. When running the Quadrant Benchmark, the Skypad 7S scores 1,650, and the Skypad 10S scores 1,904. Velimo Benchmark puts them at 1,152 for the 7S, and 1,152 again for the 10S. Not too surprising because of their identical hardware. And the Antutu Benchmark puts them at 12,940 and 13,1114 for the Skypad 10S. A little bit of variation there, but of course they are running the same hardware and the same software, so you should expect to see scores somewhere in those ranges. Now, for the final bits. The 10S retails for about $150 US and the 7S for about $100 US. Now, are these the highest spec'd tablets on the market? No. they are not. And they're fairly comparable in prices to some of the other offerings with similar specifications. And normally I might end the review saying something like, it's a fairly middle-of-the-road tablet, nothing much new is offered, and there's some pre-installed apps that I like. However, remember what I said at the beginning about viewing a tablet with fresh eyes? By the time I finished with this review, I saw what the Skypad tablets really had to offer, and that was that they had spent a lot of time, Skytex that is, working on making these tablets very friendly to the brand new user. From their setup wizard to the little icons where you can click Get Angry Birds and it will take you there without you having to go searching through it through a store. These sorts of touches are very useful to somebody who's never handled these types of things before. So what I can say about the Skypad tablets is that the 10S and the 7S, while they might not be anything too special to, I don't know, somebody who's compelled by the numbers like me or some of my other co-workers, one of the things that it definitely does well is market to the people who are new, who aren't sort of Android gurus like myself. This tablet does a very good job of making it easy to get your feet wet in the Android ecosystem. And that, I think, is the great strength of the 10S and the 7S. I would definitely say these are tablets to go for if you are in the position of trying to introduce a loved one or yourself become introduced to the Android operating system. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed, and if you have, a comment or a like would be most appreciated. It's your feedback that lets me know how to best allocate my time in the things that you want to see. If you click on any of the links around here, you'll be taken to a playlist with more of that particular brand of madness. And be sure to subscribe so that you can always be the first to know when I have some new content out. Thanks again, and see you around.